We have a major win for the No Kings Day protest and a major loss for this administration. This is according to New York police. I'm going to put a tweet right up here on the screen. The majority of the No Kings protests have dispersed at this time and all traffic closures have been lifted. We had more than 100,000 people across all 5 boroughs peacefully exercising their First Amendment right, and the NYPD made 0 protest-related arrests. And this is the trend across the entire country. As you can see, I'm joining you from the downtown LA protest in Southern California. This has been completely peaceful. There's not been a single disturbance. To be completely candid, I was even worried coming here, given the spate of violence that's occurred across the country and the rhetoric that's been amped up at the hands of Donald Trump and his administration. But this has been completely peaceful, and it's a blow to this administration because they were relying on this idea that this entire No Kings Day protest is some Antifa-filled hate rally, and that the left is just filled with domestic terrorists who are seeking to destroy things and hurt people. And clearly, when you have their rhetoric contrasted against what we're actually seeing in real life, when not just thousands, not just tens of thousands, not just hundreds of thousands, but millions of people across the entire country in more than 2,600 communities in the United States have come out, and we're not seeing even a single arrest in the biggest jurisdictions like New York City. We're not seeing a single instance of violence like here in downtown Los Angeles. Then that is a testament to the fact that not only is the left a peaceful movement, but it goes to show that what Republicans and Donald Trump are doing is trying to weaponize their rhetoric against people, to manipulate their supporters into thinking that everybody on the Democratic side of the aisle, everybody in the pro-democracy movement is just dangerous and wants to hurt you, when in reality, it just goes to show that he relies on division to keep his movement up. He relies on demagoguery to make sure that people can flock to him. He needs to other people. He needs to tell the right that the left is this violent mass movement against them. But in reality, this is what it looks like when you have tens of thousands of people who've taken to the streets and there's no violence whatsoever. And yes, I'm sure that there are people from the right here. I'm sure that there's people from the center here. But again, a completely peaceful movement, not just here in Los Angeles, but across the country. And so that is a big loss for a Trump administration that relies on these optics that one side is dangerous to give themselves this sense of moral superiority when trying to use that as a pretense to send the troops in, for example. There was a major concern leading into today, and I've spoken at length about this with Mark Elias, for example, on our Democracy Watch series. Major concern that the Trump administration was going to use any individual instance of violence as a pretext to be able to invoke the Insurrection Act and to say, oh, look, there's all this violence, exactly what we warned you about, and so now we have grounds to be able to send the military in. And yet, as you can see, these completely peaceful movements are a testament to the fact that his efforts to deploy the troops into cities are completely unjustified. And by the way, it's not just me saying that. All you have to do is look at what the judges are saying in each individual courtroom. In Los Angeles a few months ago, you had Judge Breyer who said as much. In LA, you had Judge Immergut in Portland who also agreed, no pretext to be able to send in the troops. And then up in Chicago, you had Judge Perry who also agreed. And that decision was appealed up to the 7th Circuit, and the 7th Circuit agreed that there was no basis for the Trump administration to be able to deploy these troops into the cities. And so the Trump administration will rely on any, even anecdotal instances of violence to be able to justify the egregious oversteps that they're taking right now, these big government steps that they're taking right now. But good on the organizers, good on the participants, good on the 7 million plus Americans who've come out today for doing so peacefully and not giving any justification for the Trump administration. This also comes on the heels of the fact that not only is this some medium-sized protest or some small protest that's not giving the Trump administration any pretext to be able to deploy the troops or claim that the left is some violent movement, but we actually now know, thanks to the organizers, that we've hit more than 7 million people, making this the single largest protest in the history of the United States. So not only is it a loss for the Trump administration in the sense that they won't be able to use any instances of violence to justify some extreme overreach at the hands of this administration, not only can they not use any non-existent violence right now to be able to invoke the Insurrection Act or claim that they need to arrest people because they are violent Antifa terrorists and he's issued his executive orders saying that anybody who's Antifa is a domestic terrorist. But there's also the massive humiliation of the fact that despite his best efforts to paint this thing as a hate rally, that 7 million plus people came out today to let their voices be heard. This is the biggest protest in the history of this country, the biggest collection of Americans who've taken to the streets in the history of this country. And what that tells this administration is that what they are selling is not resonating with us. And that makes sense, by the way, because when this administration was campaigning, when Trump was campaigning, he promised everybody that he would lower costs. He promised everybody that he was focused on the cost of eggs, of housing, of rent, of groceries, that he would care about individual people, that he would bring jobs back. And yet now, once he's actually in office, what's he doing? He's focused on himself. He's focused on raising prices through his trade wars because he has a fragile ego and doesn't want to relent. He's focused on building himself a ballroom that costs $200 million, on hosting crypto dinners, on cutting health care from not only 17 million Americans who rely on Medicaid, but also 24 million Americans who rely on the Affordable Care Act. Everything this administration has done has been in diametric opposition to what this president has promised when he was campaigning. Even looking at the Epstein files. This guy promised to release the Epstein files, surrounded himself with acolytes who built their entire brands on releasing the Epstein files. And yet now when those people have the ability to substantiate the very things that they were saying, to finally release the Epstein files, to give some accountability to the people that were involved and transparency to those who needed it, this administration is instead engaged in an entire cover-up because they have to protect one man, dear leader, Donald Trump. And so Americans are waking up to the fact that they have been sold a bill of goods from Donald Trump and the people that he surrounded himself with. And what we saw today with thousands and thousands of people just here in downtown LA, but millions of people across the country taking to the streets to let their voices be heard, to let their opposition to this administration, that is a testament to exactly that. So again, congrats to everybody who's come out to make this thing a historic event, a safe event, and an event that puts on full display the bullshit that the Trump administration has been selling. Before you go, if you enjoyed this content and you want to see more and support independent media, please subscribe to this channel. The subscribe button will be right here on the screen. But second, the reality is that we are now in a political environment where this administration can lean on any of the social media platforms to suppress certain voices if they don't like critical coverage. That means my longevity here is in the hands of a few tech billionaires who are already making it clear that they are willing to cater to this administration. To that end, signing up for my newsletter is a way for me to reach you directly if that ever becomes necessary. I'll put the link right here on the screen as well, so please sign up. It's free, but there's also an option to do a paid subscription if you'd like to support me and my team. I really appreciate it. Thanks so much for watching.